My name is Leila Kamoushian. I am an attorney. I've been practicing law for 15 years, and most of it has been immigration law. So being on the California Lawyers Association's Health and Wellness Committee since September 2020, I decided that we should have this little promo interview before your seminar workshop next week on February 11th from 12 to 1 p.m. So we can kind of let our audience get to know you a little bit before you dive deep into the details of your workshop.
So my name is Judith Gordon. I am an attorney, a coach, a facilitator. I work with individual lawyers and with groups of lawyers, be it practice groups or small law firms or legal teams. And what we focus on are skills and strategies to thrive in the practice of law. And what do I mean by that? So law is relational. And when we went to law school, we learned the tools of the trade. We learned to facts and rules, to take facts and apply rules to the facts and reach conclusions, right? This is really, really important, obviously. But you get into practice and what do you discover? You discover that law is relational. So our education actually begins at the graduation door. We learn about all these, how to practice law in relationship with our work, our clients, our colleagues, our partners and associates, the agencies with whom we work. It could be the court system, it could be other agencies, and also our relationship with ourselves. Because we have internal influencers, non-cognitive influencers that are always impacting our work. So I think you asked me to describe how I got to what I'm doing, or is that what you asked me?
Yeah, it's a little bit about your background, how you segued from actually practicing law, and you were practicing, you said, in New York for 5 years, into
Yes.
what you're doing. And also tell us that you are a professor, you're teaching at UCLA.
Yes, I'm on faculty at UCLA, and I have been teaching these skills and strategies at UCLA Law School for a decade. And how that came about is, as a practicing lawyer, I went through my own experience of waking up one day and saying, I'm practicing, I like my work, but something's not right. I'm not really happy. I'm feeling very dissatisfied. I'm feeling very stressed, not waking up wanting to leap out of bed in the morning. I'm fighting with that productivity and those experiences and those feelings. And so I went on my own journey of self-reflection and processing what it would actually take to have a thriving and joyful practice. I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
To say the least. And I thought this was personal just to me. It was my journey and that other people weren't experiencing this. But then I came across research that this was actually very widespread in the legal profession. So I realized that I had developed skills and tools that were useful. And by then I had already done training in emotional and social intelligence. I had done some training in biology. I have a background in biology prior to law. And so I just continued a lot of my own interest and experience. And I began to see all the connections between our emotional experience, our cognitive experience, our physiological experience. I started putting those together, created a set of tools, began teaching at UCLA Law School. So what happened then is that whenever I would meet lawyers in the community who heard about this course, they would say, I wish I had that in law school. I could use that now. I really need that. And so I started to develop that and offer that to lawyers and to law firms and groups. And so I've done a lot of trainings on productivity, high performance. We are, as lawyers, we are high achievers and we are problem solvers. But there are a lot of elements that interact and interfere with our ability to be at our best all of the time. So how do we do that? We have to understand all of the underlying influencers that are at play. So to dive in to what we'll actually be talking about next week, we'll be focusing on two things, because after all, we just have an hour together, right? Two things that we'll be focusing on are focus
Mhm.
and feelings. So we're focusing on focus because from the time we were children, we were told, pay attention, concentrate, but we weren't taught how. And with the pandemic, focus has become even more difficult. Lots of distractions around us. And as we all know, a distracted brain is an anxious brain. So the more distractions, the more stress, the more anxiety. So we'll do some attention training, some focus skill sets. And the second part is feelings. And the reason we're going to talk about feelings, which we talk about in law school, is because our feelings actually influence our work. How I feel about my work influences how well I do it. It influences the outcome. It influences how quickly or how much time it takes, right? So our work is, I like to say sometimes, our work is only as good as we feel. So how do I make sure that I'm in the right emotional space when I'm working on something difficult, or for a difficult client, perhaps someone who I don't love doing the work for, but of course it's my job, right? So these are some of the things we'll be touching on.
It is going to be again February 11th from 12 to 1 lunchtime. You can bring your own lunch, right? And to register, you can go on the California Lawyers Association's website, which I'll just read it here. It's calawyers.org. And then you go to the events tab and you sign up, and it's free. So, and if you want to get in touch with Judith Gordon, you can go on her website. Do you want to tell us your website?
Sure. My website, I have two websites. So the website that I'm actually going to share here, which might be useful for the listeners, is the Center for Thriving in Law. It's an learning platform for lawyers, and it has a lot of tools and resources and programs on it. So it's www.centerforthrivinginlaw.com.
Thank you so much. Thank you again, and see you next week.
Bye-bye.